Yes, professor.
Okay, good morning, students. Welcome to the supply chain management module number 33. Okay, today we are going to discuss about the sourcing of supply chain. Okay, before going to the topic, we will discuss something about the assignment. Okay, the assignment already in the last class we discussed. It is a open assignment. You can select your own topic. You can select your own date of submission. Okay, but date of submission should be as early as possible. And I also discussed about the 4 different categories of assignment given there. Okay, the Google Drive link is available in Google Classroom. Okay, if you go to final CSCA exams where you are writing your online quiz exams, IIT to other things. Okay, if you go in that thing, there is one row called SCM assignment. If you open it, in the description you can find the link for the drive. Okay. Second thing, if you enter into your final year CSCA, the normal classroom where the materials are posted, okay, there we posted the previous year question papers. Okay, if you open that thing, in the description you can find the link for that Google Sheet. Okay, in any of this you can use it, otherwise we will send it in the WhatsApp also. Okay, both in CSCA classroom, CSCA exams classroom, in both the classroom the link is available. And be very clear, the assignment mark simply going to reflect in your internal assessment entry 2. Okay, so don't take it light, and we are not going to compel you, and we are not going to remind you also. If you are completed the quiz program, you will get the mark, otherwise don't blame on us. Okay, one thing. Second thing, if a student entered his name in that row, means please don't delete the name of that student. Okay, it's you are an engineer. I am receiving the complaint like that. Please don't do those things also. Okay. Okay. And this is the last assignment. We are considering this as the 5 assignments for your class. Okay. So please complete it, and it should be genuine. Don't copy and paste it. Okay. We are asking you to type in the Word file only because we have to consolidate and we have to return it back to all the students so that it will be useful for the university exam. That is the only objective of this assignment. Okay, so please don't copy it from the Wikipedia or from the any other website and just paste it there. Just type it of your own words. Okay, fine, sir. Now we are going to the subject content. Is there any doubt in the regarding the assignment, sir? If there is any doubt, you can ask me now. Okay, if there is no doubt at all, we can go with the unit 4. In the last class, we discussed something about the sourcing of supply chain. What is meant by sourcing? Okay, what are the various types of sourcing? Other things we discussed. Now we are going to discuss on the contracts. Okay, first, when we are making, when a supply chain decided to have a sourcing from a supplier, definitely it has to make a contract. Okay, so that what are the various stages in making this supplier selection? So first thing is the identification of the supplier. The supplier category. What are the categories of supplier? One is the manufacturing, the person who is going to manufacture some component. Okay, example, if you take the automobile industry, if the automobile industry sourcing some glass from the Saint-Gobain, means Saint-Gobain is a manufacturer. They are manufacturing the glass items. Okay, so that is the one category of suppliers. Second category is the stockist or the dealers. Okay, who is the stockist or the dealer? Suppose you are building some houses. Okay, at the time what you are going to do, you are going to source some bricks or sand from the supplier or from the dealers only. They will have the bricks, they will have the sand and other things. We have to go to them and we have to get it. So that is what we call the stockist or the dealers. And the third thing is the distributor or the agents. Who are the distributors? Okay, let us take an Amway product. Amway company will not sell their product in any of the stores or any of the mart. Okay, if you go to Walmart or if you go to Big Bazaar, okay, you will not find any Amway product because Amway will not sell it to the stores. But what the Amway will do? Amway will give it to the distributor. Distributor by multi-level marketing, they are selling the product. Okay, so this is the one type of category of suppliers. And the last thing is the subcontractors. Who are all the subcontractors? Okay, suppose let us take our college as an example. Okay, in our college, the security persons are not belongs to our college. They are the contract persons. We are having a subcontract with some security service. They will supply the securities to our college. Similarly, if you take a housekeeping, the housekeeping also under contract only. Okay, so this type of things are called as the subcontracts. Okay. So, manufacturer, stockist, distributors, and subcontracts. Okay. Next thing is the first category of classification of suppliers. Okay, manufacturer, dealer, subcontracts, and distributors. Okay, fine. Next, based on the number of the suppliers, we are categorizing it. There are two types of category. One is single supplier, another is multiple supplier. What is single supplier means? For that company, there is only one supplier. Okay, suppose let us take a thermal power plant in Neyveli. They are having only single supplier. The coal supply only from the coal mine. Okay, Neyveli will not get the coal from any other states. Okay, so it is single supplier. So any company having only one supplier, that is called as the single supplier company. Okay, what are the examples of the single supplier company means? You can say a lot of examples. Advantage if you take it, if it is a single supplier, they will promptly deliver the product. The quality of the product will be high enough and the cost also very less. Okay, so these are the advantage of single supplier. Suppose if the company is having more than one supplier, okay, what are the drawbacks of single supplier means? If the company is having only one supplier, and if any problem happened, any accidents happened in the supplier company, then there will not be delivery of the product. Okay, so the production itself, it stops. It is not possible to meet the market demand. So what the companies are doing, they are having multiple suppliers for the same product. Okay. Suppose assume that let us take a Hyundai company. Okay, Hyundai company is having a supply of Saint-Gobain for the glass product. Okay, they are having only single supplier. Let us assume like that. Suppose if some actions occur in the Saint-Gobain or some strike or something happened in the Saint-Gobain will not deliver the glass item to the Hyundai. At that time, it is not possible for the Hyundai to deliver the car. Okay, to reach the market. So what the Hyundai will do? Hyundai will have two or more suppliers for the same glass items. Okay, they will give order to all the supplier at some periodically. So at the time, what happened? If any one of the supplier is not able to deliver the product in time, the other supplier will compensate those things. Okay, so the companies are having two types of suppliers: single supplier, multiple supplier. Single supplier means quality will be high. Multiple supplier means quality will vary. Okay, so another example, if you take some Ford or something, they have the tire manufacturer. Okay, they may get only from the MRF, means single supplier. They may get from MRF or they may get from some other tire companies. Okay, then it is called as multiple suppliers. Okay. So the category of suppliers depend upon, first categories depend upon the process, that is the manufacturer, distributor, dealers and the subcontract. Second category is single supplier, multiple supplier. Okay. So based on that, we have to go with this selection of the supplier. Okay. How to select the supplier means, suppose if the company is doing some particular specific novel items or the items are patented items, then they will go with only single supplier, so that only their design will be safeguarded. Their design will not be copied by the others. Okay. If it is some secret formulas are there, some secret materials are there, so the paintings and all, if you take the paintings of the automobile, it is very, very secret. Nobody knows what is the combination of the paint they are using. Okay. So that type of secret things, ISRO, NASA, if they are doing something, then they will give only to one supplier to maintain their secrets. Suppose if the company is doing some supply chain, is doing some common items, for example, Amazon. The Amazon may give the logistic to any other company. Okay, they are having the multiple suppliers. So that is the category in which they have to select it. Next thing, we have to see the supplier capability, whether they can capable of doing the thing or not. They have that equipment, they have the plant, they have the machineries, they have the skilled operators, they have to check it. Okay, next thing, financial stability. Suppose if it is not possible by the manufacturer to give the money in time, the company, the supplier has to sustain those things also. Okay. Next is the coordination. The supplier who is going to select should coordinate with all other suppliers in that supply chain. Suppose if for example, we are selecting one supplier, they are not interested in other supplier of the supply chain, we should not select them because the coordination will not be there. Okay. Next is the impact analysis. Impact analysis means we have to check if you add that supplier in the supply chain, what are the impact happen? If you remove that supplier from the supply chain, what are the impacts? We have to analyze it. We have to go with the SWOT analysis, and if you are getting more positive points, then only we have to select that supplier. Okay. Next thing, quotes. Quotes means we have to give the bids or we have to give the tenders, and who is quoting the best, we have to select them. And assessment of the supplier. This is the second category. Once if you select the supply list of suppliers and if you shortlist the suppliers, then we have to assess each and every supplier. Okay, whether they will fit for it or not. Okay. What are that assessment? First is the competency. What is competency? The capability of satisfying the desired needs. Whether the supplier will solve our needs or not, that is the first competency. Second thing is the capacity. Whether they will be able to produce the required component or not, that is the capacity. Next is the commitment. What is the commitment they made? If they made, for example, if you take Amazon, they will tell you one date. This date the product will be delivered. In the date, in the time, it has to be delivered. Okay, that is what we call as commitment. The commitment should not be earlier or later also. If they tell that on this date, on this time, you will deliver, means on the date, on the time only they have to deliver. They should not deliver in advance. They should not deliver after the time also. Okay, that is what we call as commitment. Next is the control. What are the controls they are having over their faculties, over their machines? Okay, so that is what the control. What are the techniques, latest technology? What is the quality management technique, Kaizen, Gamba? What they are using, 5S or Six Sigma? What the technique they are using to control their production process? That we have to check it. Okay, if the company is having Six Sigma concept, definitely we can give that. We can take them as a supplier. Definitely they will give the product in time, in quality. Okay, the company doesn't have 5S or Six Sigma, it is very difficult for them to control their process itself. Okay. Okay. Next thing is the cash. Cash means financial strength of the supplier. Suppliers should not run the company on the loan basis. Okay. If they're running the company on the loan basis, the profit will goes, most of the profit goes only to the paying the interest. At the time, the quality will not be there in the company. Okay. And next thing is the cost. Cost of the quoted by the supplier. If it is the very big company, they are producing the mass product, the cost quoted will be less. If it is a single, very small company, the quote cost is somewhat higher. Okay. And next thing is the consistency. What is the consistency? They have to provide the goods consistently in good quality. Okay. Initially, some of the companies will give, so for example, if you take some hotels, while they are opening the hotel, new hotel, they will give the product at very high quality. Okay. After some period of time, if they are having the enough customer, they reduce their quality. It should not be there. There should be some consistency. Okay. If you take Saravana and all, they are maintaining the consistency, so they are surviving in the market. Okay. If you take lot of many hotels or the many famous hotels, now it is not there. Okay, only because they are not maintaining that consistency. Okay, next is the culture. Culture means it is the ethics, what we call it as the normal professional ethics. They have to follow the standard ethics. Okay, clean. The company should clean means it is not only necessary that the company should be very clean, the floors are cleaned every day. It is not the clean. It should follow the government policies and there should be very clear transparency in all the policies. Suppose the government gave the policy stating that the outlet, the waste outlet of the company should be what we defragmented before segregating to the water resource means definitely it should have a defragmentation plant in it. It should not, for example, let us take a textile industries near the Tirupur and Coimbatore, what they are doing without cleaning the wastewater, they are directly let it to the Kaveri river. So the river is get spoiled. What is meant by clean means it has to follow the norms adopted by the government and they have to do all the needs as per the government. That is the clean. Okay. Next is the communication. Communication should be clear and transparent. If there is a problem in the company, they have to tell the manufacturer that we have the problem. It is very difficult to supply in time. Okay, most of the suppliers will not tell their internal issues. Instead, they try to manipulate something. Okay, some of the suppliers, what they will do means, if it is not possible for them to produce that component, they will buy the component from other suppliers and deliver it to the manufacturer. So that should not be there. Okay, so these are some of the things to be taken care while assessing the supplier. Okay, we are assessing the supplier. Okay, assessment gets completed. Once the assessment is over, okay, the next is, what is the next stage? Next stage is making a contract or agreement. Okay, okay. If you make a contract or if you want to make an agreement, what are the types of agreement? What are the types of contracts available in a supply chain? Okay. These are the list of contracts or the agreements that is in the normal supply chain. Okay, and it will vary from supplier to supplier also. These are the commonly used agreements. First one, the product availability contract. What this contract will do means, this contract will tell both the supplier and manufacturer, the amount of the product, quality of the product should be delivered in time. Okay, this is for example, if you take a Hyundai, if they ordered 100 glasses, car front glasses from Saint-Gobain, means Saint-Gobain has to deliver 100 glasses in time, in quality. Okay, so that is the contract for product availability. Next is the buyback contract. Let us take the newspaper in the local shops. That is the buyback contract between the newspaper printer and the local shop. What they will do, for example, let us take Dinathanthi. Every day, Dinathanthi supplier or the salesperson will give 10 to 20 newspaper in every tea stop. Suppose the sales is only 5 newspaper or 6 newspaper, the company will buy back those remaining unsold newspaper back. Okay, so every morning 5 o'clock, the salesman will come and put the newspaper in all the tea shops. In the evening 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, the same supplier will come and get back those newspaper. Okay, that is what we called as the buyback contract. Because of the buyback contract, the store operator will not have any loss. Okay, what this manufacturer will do, again the manufacturer will convert that paper into a new newspaper and they will sell it again. Okay, they will recycle that old newspapers. Okay, this is what we called as the buyback contract. Okay, next is the revenue sharing contracts. What this revenue sharing contract means, best example is the franchise. Let us take a Shell petrol pump. Shell petrol stations are operated by different owners, but they are having the franchise with the main Shell. Okay, what will happen? The contractor has to pay some money from the revenue. If they are getting 1,000 rupees as the revenue, 100 rupees has to be paid to the person, Shell owner. Okay, but remaining they have to take it as the profit. So this is the franchise type of operations are called as the revenue sharing contracts. How much revenue will come, how much has to be paid. Okay, similarly the income tax what we are paying is also a revenue sharing contract between the individual and the Indian government. Okay, if you are getting 2 lakhs salary per year, means we need not to pay any tax to the government. If you are getting more than 2 lakhs, means we have to pay 10% tax up to 10 lakhs. Okay, so this is the contract made by the government with the citizen of the India. Okay, so this is what we called as revenue sharing contracts. And next is the quantity flexibility contract. Okay, suppose some of the product, the market demand cannot be predicted. Okay, at the time the company should ready to produce. For example, if you are ordering 100 quantities per month, means suppose if the demand increases, the same company has to supply 200 or 300 products. Suppose if the demand is not that, the company has to supply 50 or 20 products. Okay, so this type of flexibility in quantity is the quantity flexibility contracts. Okay, contract to coordinate supply chain cost. Okay, for example, what it means, see some factory outlets. Okay, the factory outlets, if you will, let us take any factory outlet, let us take Avin outlets. Okay, the Avin milk in the outside shop is 14 rupees, means if you go and buy in the factory outlet of Avin, they will sell only for the 14 rupees only. They will not reduce the amount. Why? Because the shopkeeper near to our house, what happens? The actual cost of the Avin packet, assume that it is 10 rupees. Okay, that packet will transported from the Avin to the shop. It will take 1.5 rupees. So it comes 11 rupees 50 paise. And the shopkeeper will have 1 rupee as the profit. So it comes to 13.5 rupees. 13.5 rupees. Okay, and they are using some air condition to keep the milk good condition. So they are spending some 50 paise. So it comes as 14 rupees. But for Avin, the cost is only 10 rupees. But Avin will not sold it for 10 rupees. If it sold it for the 10 rupees in the factory outlet, everybody go and bought the milk from the outlet only. So the storekeeper will incur some losses. To avoid that, the company will coordinate all the supplier and everybody will sold the product at the same rate. Wherever you bought the product, the cost of the product will be same. So that is what we call as the contract coordinate things. Next is the contract to the agents. Okay. Agents, some of the company doesn't want to have direct deal with the customers. At the time, they are having agents under them. Through the agents only, they will deal the things. Okay. So this is the contract with the agent, and they have the contract with the agent to the shopkeepers. Contract to the marketing. Suppose if you take the Google Chrome, if you type some name in the Google Chrome, if you pay some 1 lakh or 2 lakh rupees to the Google, what happened? They will make our name to come first. Okay, if I am having a website, supply chain management, if I created a website like that, and if you pay a Google for 1 lakh or 2 rupees, or if anybody type in the search engine, my name will come as the first name in the search window. Okay, so this is what we call as the contract in marketing. Similarly, if you take Amazon, there is lot of contractors are there to bring 5-star to your products. Okay, they are having some of the hackers, they will hack the Amazon website and they make your product with 5-star and with high commands, high good commands, so that if you see, if the customers see the review rate, it will be very high, so they will buy the product. So this is what we called as the contract to marketing. Okay, next thing is the contract with the buyers. By giving the warranty, guarantee, free service, 1 year free service, okay, free installation. These are the contracts with the buyers. Contract for service. What is mean? First, if you buy a bike or a car, the first 3 service will be free. So this is what the service contract they are made. Okay. So this will go like that. Next is the design collaboration. So these are about the first we have categorized the list of supplier, then we have assessed the supplier, then we have made a contract with the supplier. Okay. Once if we made the contract, we have to give the design drawing to the supplier so that only they will manufacture it. Okay. So that is what we call as the design collaboration. In this thing, the manufacturer will give the design to the suppliers. Okay. What have to be manufactured, what have not be done like that. The supplier will discuss, so this can be changed like this so that it will be cost efficient or economic like that. So they will discuss with each other and they will finalize the design. Okay, in that stage what happens? In that stage, they will finalize the cost of the product also. Okay, what is the actual cost inquired? Here only the actual cost of the product fixed. Okay, so that is what we call as the design collaboration. The first thing, there are different types of collaborations are there. The first thing is called as the general design collaboration, in which the common thing, if you want to make some washer or nut, suppose if you want to have some design collaboration with the Intel processors, these are the standard things. Okay, so that is what we call as the general collaboration. Next is the concurrent design collaboration. Suppose I am having a specific circuit board. Okay, I am manufacturing a specialized computer. There, I need some processor of different size and shape. At the time, we have to have a concurrent collaboration with the manufacturer, supplier, and with the customers. Okay, this is best example of the agility. Next is the IT design collaboration. Here, because of the development of the cloud, IoT, and other things, IoT design collaboration can be held. For example, if you take the Rolls-Royce car, the user can define the color of the car, the user can define the type of the tire, user can define whether the type of the steering. Okay, user can define what is the seat material, cushion material, is that the foam or whatever the material it may be, like that. It will allow the user to design itself. So after the user give all his specifications and if you submit it, then only the design starts. This is what we called as the IT design collaboration. And next is the non-value added design collaboration. Okay, this non-value added design collaboration is, suppose the best example, if you order some cloth, okay, any sudidars or shirt materials directly from the Tirupur. Okay, Tirupur are the manufacturers. From there only we are getting in the local Chennai shops. Okay, if you ordered the product directly from the Tirupur, the company person will ask you in which courier I have to send it. Okay, you can tell, you can send it through professional courier or you can send it to ST courier. If you tell like that, they will send it in that courier. Okay, and we have to pay the amount for that thing. Okay, so this is what we called as the non-value added design collaboration. So the supplier will ask in which thing we have to transport or which what I have to do like that. Okay, so for example, if you take Amazon also, it will ask whether you want free delivery means it will deliver on this date. If you want earlier means you have to pay 80 rupees or 40 rupees like that. So this is the options given to the customer or to the manufacturer. What is the way you preferred? Okay, so this is what we called as the non-value added design collaboration. Next is the agile design collaboration. Agility, that is the flexibility in selecting the components. Okay, next is the standardized design collaboration. Most of the components in the things should be of standard quality only. If you heard about the PLCs, if you take the PLC, none of the components of the PLC are standardized. Okay, but if you take a computer, all the components are standardized components. Okay. So this is what we call the standardization. Next is the customized design collaboration. Suppose if you are, I need a product with this specification with this color, that is customized design collaboration. Okay. So with this, the design collaboration gets completed. So we selected the list of suppliers, the individual supplier, we selected the suppliers, we assessed the suppliers, we made a contract with the supplier, and we had a design collaboration with that supplier. Then we are going for the sourcing, planning, and analysis. Okay. What it is, there are different categories: direct material sourcing, indirect material sourcing. If you bought the product directly from the farmers, it is direct source. If your farmers are giving to somebody else and they are getting from the agents, it is called as the indirect sourcing. Okay, apart from that, there are a lot of things are called as raw material sourcing, like that. Okay, raw material sourcing, partial process sourcing, sub-assembly sourcing, product sourcing, service sourcing. This are all already we discussed in the previous classes. So we go to the next topic: sourcing portfolio planning. What the portfolio should be? The portfolio of that sourcing should have all the details. Okay, for example, all the detail in sense, it should have who is the supplier, where they are getting that material, how they are doing, what are the machineries, what are their capabilities, what are their financial status. Everything should be in their portfolio. Okay. And next thing, we have to do the analysis for the risk factor. Suppose, is it possible for that supplier to deliver the component perfectly, or if they will face the risk? Suppose if any accident occur, or they having some different setup to produce the same thing. If you go for Ashok Leyland, there is only one assembly line. In that line only they are producing all the lorries. Okay, if any failure occur in any one segment of that assembly line, the entire line has to be stopped. Okay, but if you take Hyundai, they are having around 22 or 25 assembly lines, all the assembly lines working parallelly. If any errors occur in any one assembly line, it's not a big issue. They will play with the other assembly lines. They will produce the manufacturing the other assembly lines. Okay, so this is what we called as the risk analysis. If anything happened wrongly, will it be able to survive by the supplier or not? Next is the sourcing decision making. After analyzing everything, we have to take the decision whether whom we have to give the sourcing, where we have to get the product from, who is our supplier. Like that, we have to take the decision. Okay, there is a lot of things are the concurrent decision making. Suppose if you take the Reliance and all, the Reliance company does, the owner we may say that Ambani Group, Anil Ambani or something else. Okay, but the Reliance completely it is working under the share basis. Okay, the Reliance owner, even though Anil Ambani will not have not the power to take own decision, they have to call the general body meeting. In the general body meeting only they have to take the decision. So that is what we called as the concurrent decision making. If somebody in the apartments, you may see that the apartment office or the president of the apartment will not take the decision. They have to call for the general body meeting and they have to take the decision. So that type of decision making is called as the concurrent decision making. coordinated decision making. What is coordinated decision making means? Suppose if I am, for example, in the apartments, if you are going to paint your apartments, okay, at the time, what you have to do? You have to coordinate with all the suppliers, all the house tenants and owners, and we have to take some decision, okay. This is what we call as the coordinated decision making. Pricing decision making, based on the price, who is giving the lower price. So based on that, we have to take the decision making. And then relationship decision making. Relationship with the supplier is very, very important. Okay. For example, if the relationship is not that much good, definitely you will not get the quality product and you will not sustain in the supply chain. Okay. So, with this, we are completed our first half of the fourth unit. So, this is the syllabus given in your Anna University curriculum. So, role of sourcing. Role of sourcing is, that is what we discussed so far. Everything is the role of sourcing. The first topic is the suppliers, supply chain, supplier selection. Okay, supplier selection means how to select a supplier. For that, we are having list of categories that we discussed. Okay, how to assess a supplier. Supplier can be assessed in different ways. That is what we discussed in this class. Next is the contract. What are the different types of contract? Buyback contract or general contract or like that. Okay, agent contract. These are the different types of contracts. Next is the design collaboration. And last thing is the sourcing, planning and analysis. Okay, so with that we completed the first 50% of the fourth unit. Okay, in this thing, if you take the important point means supplier selection, assessment and contract are the important things, and remaining also important. So it's not a big issue. Okay, it's very simple unit only. Okay, sir. With this, I'm going to end with this session. The next class onwards, we will start with the supply chain coordination. Supply chain coordination is nothing but the coordination with the various elements of the supply chain. Because if you take, there is n number of owners, okay, n number of employees working, and each and every one are independent to each other. The one owner doesn't know about the other owner. At the time, there will not be coordination between the both. So the supply chain has to bring coordination among all the elements in the supply chain. Then only the profit of the supply chain will be enhanced. So that only it will survive in the market. Okay, so that is what we are going to discuss in the supply chain coordination. That is the second half of the unit that will be discussed from the next class. Okay, in next 3 or 4 classes, we are going to complete the supply chain coordination. That is a unit 4. Okay. Okay, sir. If you have any doubt, you can ask us. Dear students, please tell your friends about the assignment. Again, I am repeating. In this thing, we are going to give directly whatever the mark you scored in the assignment as your internal assessment. Okay. And if it is good enough, we are giving 100 out of 100. Then the same mark will be replicated in your second internal assessment of the Anna University. Okay. Okay, sir. The absentee list is given in the chat box. Please go through it. If there is no discrepancies, you can leave the class, sir. All the best.